Before I get started with my painting video, I want to share some of the tools I use because I've developed systems for most everything. One of the most important things I do is I recycle my paint thinner. So this is not an enchilada base. I have these containers from the food service that I use, and I save them. And this is a great size little container for odorless paint thinner. So the way I recycle my odorless paint thinner is I make this little filter out of part of a paper towel, and then I pour it in there, and you can see just the sediment remains in that container there, and eventually it'll drain out. And if it doesn't do it fast enough, I go like that, this, wrap that up there, and then squeeze it out like this. And then squeeze it again. And I throw it into my trusty red can. I'll put up a picture of my trusty red can so you can see what I use. Then take this, another piece of that paper towel, and I simply clean that out. And as you can see, I wear some blue nitrile gloves. And, you know, back in the day, I didn't used to take care of my hands as much as I do now, but it's really important for you as an artist to take care of your hands. So, great idea. Invest in some nitrile gloves. They're really great, and will save your hands. So, that container goes away. I'll use it again tomorrow. I'll go through the same procedure. As for odorless paint thinner, right now I'm using Gambasol. There's lots of different brands of odorless mineral spirits. This one works just fine. And I also will use odorless paint thinner when I lay in a painting. So for the first layer, I'll paint with just this. Very, very thin washes. Okay, and you don't need a whole lot, just need a little bit like that. Now, for my subsequent layers, I only use this to wash my brushes, okay? So let's say I got some paint on my brush, I'd wash it off like that, and then I'd dry it right there on that towel. So that's kind of what I do as I paint. As far as mediums go, if you're a beginner painting, I want to recommend liquid. It was developed by a former professor of mine, Arthur DaCosta, back in the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts, I think in the 1970s. Right now, I am using something a little bit different, and it has, you can kind of see this kind of consistency. It's a little like syrup, and I'm using Echo House Heavy Damar Medium, and it's a bit too thick for me. So I add a little bit of this natural orange terpene, which is what Echo House recommends to use to thin down this medium. So that's the mixture that I use now, which is just a little tiny bit of the thinner. And for me, it works well with glazes. So when I'm thinning down my paint, as I'm painting in layers after the initial block-in of my work, I'm using that medium to paint with. Okay, other stuff I can show you. All right, well, I like to keep a cup of tea by my side as I'm painting, as well as a nice bottle of water, so they're right there in case I need them. All right, as far as using my paint and kind of making sure that they don't develop too much of a skin on them, I use Reynolds Kitchen plastic wrap. Yeah, this one, amazing. It has this built-in slide cutter that just like slides right across, like that. And it's amazing. I've tried the plastic palettes with the lids. I don't like them as much. I find the saran wrap, it's not saran wrap, plastic wrap. Anyway, I find that this does a better job for me with keeping the paints fresh and not developing a skin. You can see I kind of lightly pat down the plastic wrap on top of paints. So I do that. When I clean my brushes, okay, at the very end of my painting session, and it's really important to keep clean brushes because they can last you for years. I first will, obviously wipe the paint off with a paper towel, and then I will rinse them off with the odorless paint thinner, and then I found that Superzilla, you can see this is well used, so Superzilla is great to get the rest of the oil paint off the brush, and I use that after the odorless paint thinner. Now, do not, I repeat, do not use Superzilla as a painting medium. It's only good to clean your brushes with. So in that way, I don't ever use water or a sink to wash off my oil paint from my brushes, which is great because it doesn't clog the drains. It does go through a few more paper towels probably than I would need to if I was using another way to clean my brushes, but that's the sacrifice that I'm making there. Okay, another thing that's handy to know is any kind of orange wipes. It doesn't have to be 7th generation, it can be the Clorox brand, but these orange wipes work really, really well for wiping paint also off brushes and surfaces. And with all these solvents that I use, they're all virtually odor-free. And so this is my safe painting environment that I've created for myself. And it works really well. So, you can paint in a corner of your apartment or, wherever you need to in the house. You don't have to have huge fans venting the odors. So I thought that might be helpful for all of you folks.